Dr. Sarah Chen was having her morning coffee when the world changed forever. The alert came through her computer at exactly 7:23 a.m. Strange signals from the outer edge of the solar system, ships that were not human ships. Sarah worked at the International Space Research Center in Geneva. She studied alien life, though until that morning she had never found any. Her job was to prepare for the day when Earth might meet other intelligent beings from space. That day had finally come. The first images were fuzzy. The telescopes could only see so much from such a great distance, but what they showed made Sarah's hands shake as she held her coffee cup. 3 massive objects moved slowly toward Earth. They were not made of metal like human ships. Instead, they looked organic, like giant sea creatures swimming through the darkness of space. "My God," Sarah whispered to herself. "They're real." Within an hour, every major government on Earth knew about the alien ships. Military leaders called emergency meetings. Scientists rushed to their computers. News reporters tried to get information, but officials told them nothing yet. The ships moved slowly, too slowly. Sarah watched the data come in and realized something was wrong. The alien vessels were barely moving under their own power. They were drifting more than flying. Whatever these beings were, they were in trouble. On the second day, the aliens sent a message. Sarah was in the main communication room when the signal came through. It was not like human radio or television. Instead, it was a complex pattern of sounds and images that hurt to look at directly. The computer systems worked for hours to translate it into something humans could understand. When the translation finally appeared on the screens, the room fell silent. "We are the Cathara. We are the last of our people. We seek shelter. We seek help. We are dying." The message showed images of a beautiful world covered in crystal cities that grew like living coral. It showed graceful beings with smooth, pale skin and large, dark eyes. They moved like dancers, even in the water that seemed to be their natural home. Then the images changed. The same world appeared, but now it was burning. Great ships attacked from the sky. The crystal cities cracked and fell. Bodies floated in poisoned water. The beautiful Cathara ran and hid and died by the millions. "The hegemony comes," the message continued. "They destroy all who are different. They killed our worlds. They hunt us still. We are the last. Please help us." Sarah felt tears on her cheeks. She was not the only one crying in the room. The debates started immediately. Every world leader had an opinion. Some wanted to help the aliens. Others said it was too dangerous. What if the Cathara were lying? What if this hegemony they spoke of was real and would come to Earth looking for them? President Williams of the United States spoke with President Chen of China. Prime Minister Johnson of the United Kingdom argued with Chancellor Muller of Germany. The Russian president said they should capture the alien ships and study them. The Indian Prime Minister wanted to offer immediate help. Sarah watched the news coverage from her laboratory. Politicians talked and talked while the alien ships continued to drift closer to Earth. She could see from the latest scans that the ships were failing. Their power levels dropped each day. Whatever organic technology kept them running was dying. "We're arguing while they're dying," Sarah said to her assistant, Dr. Kim Martinez. Kim nodded. "The UN meeting is tomorrow. Maybe they'll decide something then." But Sarah could not wait. She had spent her whole career preparing for this moment. If Earth turned away its first alien visitors, she would never forgive herself. More importantly, she would never forgive humanity. That night, Sarah worked alone in her lab. She used the big radio telescope to send a message directly to the Cathara ships. It was against regulations. She could lose her job, but she did not care. "This is Dr. Sarah Chen of Earth," she transmitted. "I have received your message. I believe you. I want to help. Can you understand me?" She waited. Space was vast, and radio signals took time to travel. Finally, after 2 hours, a response came back. The voice was strange, like wind through water, but the words were clear. The Kythera had learned human languages from monitoring Earth's broadcasts. Dr. Chen, we thank you. We are afraid. Our ships fail. Our children grow sick. We have traveled so far. We hoped Earth would be different. Different from what? Sarah asked. Different from the others. The hegemony tells all species that difference is dangerous, that those who are not like them must be destroyed. They said we were too strange to live. They said our technology was a threat. We only wanted to help others, to share what we knew. Instead, they hunted us across the galaxy. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. How many of you are left? 50,000. Once we were billions. Now we are so few. Our babies are born weak. Our knowledge dies with our elders. We are the end of the Kythera. The sadness in the alien voice was heartbreaking. Sarah made a decision that would change everything. Listen to me, she said. I cannot speak for all of Earth, but I can speak for some of us. We will not let you die. We will find a way to help. The next morning, Sarah stood before the United Nations General Assembly. She was not supposed to be there. She was not a diplomat or a politician, but her midnight conversation with the Kythera had been detected by government monitoring systems. Now everyone wanted to hear what the aliens had told her. They are refugees, Sarah told the assembly. They are the survivors of genocide. Yes, their technology is advanced. Yes, they are different from us. But they are also parents trying to save their children. They are teachers trying to preserve their knowledge. They are the last hope of an entire civilization. The Russian delegate stood up. How do we know they are telling the truth? This could be an invasion disguise. Sarah had expected this question. Because they are dying, she said simply. Their ships are failing. Their people are sick. If this were an invasion, it would be the worst planned invasion in history, the Chinese delegate asked. What about this hegemony they speak of? If we help the Kythera, will we make enemies of this military alliance? Maybe, Sarah admitted. But what? Does it say about us if we turn away beings who need help because we are afraid? What kind of species are we if we let genocide happen when we have the power to stop it? The debate continued for hours. Some delegates argued for caution. Others demanded that Earth offer immediate assistance. The vote, when it finally came, was close, but it passed. Earth would offer temporary sanctuary to the Kythera. They would be allowed to dock their ships at Luna Station, the human base on the moon. Medical aid would be provided. Food and water would be given. In return, the Kythera would share information about themselves and the galaxy beyond Earth. It was not a perfect solution. Many world leaders still had doubts, but it was a start. As Sarah watched the vote count appear on the screen, she felt a mixture of relief and fear. Earth had just taken its first step into a larger universe. She hoped it would not be their last. 3 days later, the first Kythera ship docked at Luna Station. When the airlock opened and the first alien stepped onto a human-built platform, both species held their breath. The Kythera was tall and graceful, with skin that seemed to shimmer in the artificial light. When she spoke, her voice was like music. "Thank you," she said in perfect English. "We are in your debt." Sarah, watching from the control room on Earth, smiled. "No," she whispered to herself, "we are all in this together now." The Kythera called their leader Whispers of Tide. She was old, even by alien standards, and carried herself with a grace that made humans stop and stare. When she spoke, her words came slowly, as if each one carried great weight. Dr. Sarah Chen sat across from Whispers of Tide in the medical bay of Luna Station. Between them lay a strange device that looked like living crystal. It pulsed with soft blue light. "This is our memory keeper," Whispers of Tide explained. It holds the history of what happened to my people. I share it with you because you showed us kindness. But I warn you, Dr. Chen, truth can be a heavy burden. Sarah nodded. We need to know. My government asks questions. They want proof of your story. Then they shall have it. Whispers of Tide placed her long, delicate fingers on the crystal device. The room filled with soft light, and suddenly Sarah was no longer on Luna Station. She was seeing through alien eyes, watching events that happened far away and long ago. The first images showed the Cathara homeworld in better times. Their cities were grown rather than built, shaped from living coral that sparkled in the light of twin suns. The Cathara themselves moved through water-filled streets with natural ease. They were artists and scientists, builders and dreamers. We were explorers, Whispers of Tide's voice echoed in Sarah's mind. We traveled to other worlds not to conquer, but to learn. Our ships were alive, grown from our own DNA. Our technology was biological, not mechanical. We could heal worlds that had been damaged. We could help dying ecosystems recover. The images shifted. Sarah saw the Cathara arriving at other planets. Sometimes they found primitive life forms that they helped evolve. Sometimes they found worlds poisoned by war or accident, which they slowly nursed back to health. Always, they worked with nature rather than against it. We thought we were doing good, Whispers of Tide continued. We helped 12 different species reach the stars. We shared our knowledge freely. We asked for nothing in return except friendship. Then everything changed. Sarah watched in horror as massive military ships appeared in the skies above peaceful worlds. These ships were not grown like the Kithara vessels. They were built from metal and powered by nuclear fire. They moved like predators, fast and deadly. The hegemony, Whispers of Tide said, and her mental voice carried centuries of pain. 5 species who had conquered their own worlds and decided to conquer others. They believed that only the strong deserved to survive. They called themselves the rightful rulers of the galaxy. The hegemony ships attacked without warning. They targeted the Cathara colonies first, seeing their biotechnology as the greatest threat. Sarah watched cities burn and oceans boil. She saw Cathara families running for shelter that never came. They said we were dangerous, Whispers of Tide explained. Our ability to work with living systems, to grow technology instead of building it, frightened them. They called it unnatural. They said we would create monsters that would destroy all civilized life. Sarah wanted to look away, but she forced herself to keep watching. She saw Cathara children pulled from their parents' arms. She saw the beautiful coral cities cracked and broken. She saw entire worlds turned into graveyards. The war lasted 300 of your years, Whispers of Tide said. We tried to fight back, but we were not warriors. Our ships were meant for exploration and healing, not for battle. One by one, our worlds fell. The images showed the final battle above the Cathara homeworld. Thousands of the living ships tried to defend their birthplace, but they were overwhelmed. The planet's surface was scorched from orbit until nothing lived. 57 billion Cathara died in the war, Whispers of Tide said. These ships carry the last survivors. We have been running for 30 years, always moving, never safe. The hegemony hunts us still. The crystal device dimmed, and Sarah found herself back in the medical bay. Tears streamed down her face. Beside her, Whispers of Tide looked exhausted. I am sorry, the alien leader said. I should have warned you better. The memories are hard for us to share and harder for others to receive. Sarah wiped her eyes. No, I needed to see. We all need to see. But tell me, why did you come to Earth? How did you even know we existed? We have been watching your species for 50 of your years, Whispers of Tide replied. Your radio signals reach far into space. We studied your entertainment broadcasts, your news. Your communications. We learned your languages. We saw how you behave. And what did you see? We saw a young species that fights among itself, yes, but we also saw something else. We saw humans risk their lives to save strangers. We saw you rescue animals from disasters. We saw you help other species survive when you had no reason to do so. You are not perfect, Dr. Chen, but you have something the hegemony lacks. What's that? Compassion for the weak. Sarah left the meeting with her mind spinning. The video records were sent to every major government on Earth. Scientists studied them. Military leaders analyzed them. Intelligence agencies tried to verify them. The conclusion was always the same. The Cathara were telling the truth. But knowing, the truth and acting on it were different things. The debates that followed were heated and frightening. If we help them, we make enemies of this hegemony, argued General Morrison, the head of Earth's military forces. We're not ready for that kind of war. If we don't help them, we prove we're no better than the species that destroyed them, countered Dr. Elena Vasquez, the head of the Ethics Committee. President Williams called a meeting of the world's leaders. Sarah was invited to attend, though she still felt out of place among the politicians and generals. Dr. Chen, the president said, you've spent more time with the aliens than anyone. What's your assessment? Sarah stood up slowly. They're dying, she said simply. Their population is dropping every day. Their technology is failing because they don't have the resources to maintain it. In 10 years, maybe 20, there will be no more Cathara in the universe. That's unfortunate, said the British Prime Minister. But is it our responsibility? They chose us, Sarah replied. Out of all the worlds they could have approached, they came to Earth. They believed we were different. The question is, are we? The Chinese president leaned forward. What about this hegemony? The alien records show they have thousands of ships. We have barely 100 spacecraft, and most of those are transport vessels. According to the Cathara, the hegemony is expanding in this direction anyway, Sarah said. They've been moving through our galaxy sector by sector, conquering or destroying every intelligent species they find. Whether we help the Cathara or not, we'll face them eventually. Then maybe we should use the time to prepare, suggested the Russian premier. Send the aliens somewhere else. Buy ourselves a few more years. Send them where? Sarah asked. They're refugees. They have nowhere else to go. And what does it say about us if we turn away people who need help just because helping them might be inconvenient? The debate continued for hours. Some leaders wanted to quietly relocate the Cathara to the outer system and hoped the hegemony would not find them. Others argued for offering full sanctuary and dealing with the consequences later. In the end, it was Captain Marcus Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force who spoke the words that changed everything. I've read the alien records, he said. I've seen what this hegemony does to worlds that resist them. If we send the Cathara away and the hegemony comes here anyway, our last thought will be that we should have stood together when we had the chance. What are you suggesting? Asked President Williams. I'm suggesting we do what humans have always done when faced with bullies, Rodriguez replied. We stand up to them. We protect those who can't protect themselves. And if that means fighting, then we fight. The vote was closer than Sarah would have liked, but it passed. Earth would offer full sanctuary to the Cathara. They would be allowed to establish a permanent colony on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. In return, they would share their biotechnology with human scientists. But even as the politicians celebrated their decision, long-range sensors detected something troubling. Ships were moving toward Earth's solar system. Military vessels. Traveling, fast and with purpose. The hegemony had found them. Sarah stood in the observation deck of Luna Station, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, an enemy fleet was coming. Earth had just made the biggest decision in human history. She hoped it would not be their last. The hegemony fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system like a disease spreading across the stars. Admiral Lisa Zhao watched the sensor readings from the bridge of the Earth defense ship Courage and felt her stomach turn cold. "How many ships?" she asked her sensor officer. 237 confirmed contacts, Admiral. More are still coming through the jump point. Admiral Zhao had commanded Earth's small defense fleet for 5 years. She knew every ship under her command, every weapon they carried, every weakness they had. Earth's entire military space force consisted of 63 ships. Most were patrol, vessels, and transports. Only 12 were actual warships. Against 200 hegemony ships, they would last about as long as paper in a fire. "Signal from the lead hegemony vessel, Admiral," reported Communications Officer Park. "Put it through." The main screen flickered, and Admiral Zhao found herself looking at something that had once been alive but was no longer quite natural. The hegemony commander was humanoid in shape, but its skin was gray metal fused with flesh. Mechanical eyes glowed red in a face that showed no emotion. "I am War Prime Cortex of the Hegemony Third Fleet," the creature said in a voice like grinding gears. "You harbor the infected ones. You will surrender them immediately." "Infected?" Admiral Zhao kept her voice steady. "I'm not sure what you mean. The Kithara carry biological contamination. Their technology spreads like disease, turning natural order into chaos. We have come to cleanse them from existence. Surrender them now, and your species will be evaluated for worthiness. Refuse, and you will be classified as contaminated and destroyed." Admiral Zhao looked around her bridge. Her crew stared back at her, waiting for her decision. She thought about the Kithara refugees on Europa. She thought about their children, their elderly, their hopes for a future. "War Prime Cortex," she said finally, "I have a message for you and your fleet. We don't abandon those who seek our protection. The Kithara are under Earth's protection now. If you want them, you'll have to go through us." The mechanical face on the screen showed no reaction. "Your species lacks understanding. You will learn. You have 12 of your hours to reconsider. After that, cleansing begins." The transmission ended. Admiral Zhao stared at the black screen for a long moment. "Admiral," asked her first officer, Commander Torres. "Orders?" "Signal all ships," Admiral Zhao said. "Battle formation, and get me a channel to Earth Command." On Earth, Dr. Sarah Chen worked frantically in her laboratory. The moment the hegemony arrived, she had started a project that seemed impossible. She was trying to combine human technology with Kithara biotechnology. The Kithara had brought examples of their living ships to Luna Station. Now Sarah and a team of human engineers were attempting to graft alien organic systems onto human spacecraft. "It's not working," said Dr. Kim Martinez, Sarah's assistant. "The biological components reject our mechanical systems. It's like trying to attach a liver to a car engine." "There has to be a way," Sarah muttered, staring at the test samples. The Kithara living metal pulsed weakly in its container, but every time they tried to connect it to human circuits, it died. Whispers of Tide entered the laboratory, moving with her usual grace despite the emergency. "Dr. Chen, perhaps we approached this wrong." "What do you mean?" "You try to add our biology to your machines, but our technology does not work that way. Our ships are not built. They are grown. They are born." Sarah looked up from her work. "Born? Each ship is alive from its beginning. It grows with its crew. It learns their thoughts, their needs. Your mechanical ships have no life to receive our gifts." "So what are you suggesting?" "We must create new ships. Ships that are both human and Kithara from their beginning. But this takes time we do not have." Dr. Martinez spoke up. "What if we don't create new ships? What if we create new components? Small biological systems that can work with our existing technology?" Whispers of Tide considered this. "Perhaps, but such systems would need to bond with living minds. Human crew members would need to accept Kithara consciousness into their thoughts. Is that dangerous? Sarah asked. We do not know. It has never been tried. Sarah looked at the clock on the wall. 8 hours until the hegemony deadline. Then we better find out fast. Captain Marcus Rodriguez stood in the briefing room aboard the battleship Terra, Earth's largest warship. Around the table sat the commanders of every ship in the defense fleet. The mood was grim. We all know the situation, Rodriguez said. We're outnumbered 4-1 by an enemy with superior technology. Our weapons will barely scratch their armor. Their weapons can destroy our ships with single shots. Commander Sarah Kim of the destroyer Defiance raised her hand. Sir, some of us are wondering why we're fighting at all. Wouldn't it be better to evacuate the Kithara to another system? Evacuate them where? Rodriguez asked. The hegemony has been hunting them for 30 years. There's nowhere left to run. Besides, the aliens made it clear that the hegemony was heading this way anyway. If we don't stop them here, we'll face them later, alone. But how do we stop them? Asked Commander Park of the cruiser Vigilant. Their ships are 3 times our size and armed with weapons we've never seen before. Rodriguez was about to answer when his communication device beeped. A message from Dr. Chen on Luna Station. Captain, Sarah's voice crackled through the speaker. We may have found something. Can you get to Luna Station quickly? Rodriguez looked around the table. All of you, prepare your ships for battle. I'll be back in 2 hours. The trip to Luna Station took 90 minutes. Rodriguez found Sarah and her team in the main laboratory, working on something that looked like a cross between a computer and a living organ. What am I looking at? He asked. Salvation, we hope, Sarah replied. We've created hybrid control systems, part human technology, part Kithara biology. They can be installed in our ships and connected directly to the crew's nervous systems. That sounds dangerous. It is, but it's also our only chance. The biological components can adapt and learn in real time. They can predict enemy movements, repair damage automatically, and enhance our weapons beyond their normal limits. Whispers of Tide stepped forward. Captain Rodriguez, this technology requires trust. Human and Kithara minds must work together. Some of my people volunteer to link with your crews. Link how? Direct mental connection. They will share their consciousness with your crew members. Together, they can control ships in ways neither species could achieve alone. Rodriguez studied the strange organic device on the table. How long to install these systems in our ships? 4 hours for each ship, Sarah said, but we only have enough biological material for 12 installations. Then we better choose those 12 ships carefully. As Rodriguez and Sarah worked out the details, alarm klaxons began sounding throughout Luna Station. A new message was coming in from the hegemony fleet. The mechanical face of War Prime Cortex appeared on every screen. Your time grows short, humans. We detect increased activity around your military vessels. Do not mistake preparation for salvation. We have destroyed 1,000 worlds. Yours will be no different. Rodriguez stepped in front of the camera. War Prime Cortex, this is Captain Marcus Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force. I want you to understand something about humans. We've never been good at following orders from bullies. The Kithara are under our protection, and they're going to stay that way. Then you choose extinction. No, Rodriguez replied. We choose to fight. 3 hours later, the first modified human ship launched from Luna Station. The destroyer Defiance now carried both human and Kithara crew members linked through organic, neural interfaces. Commander Sarah Kim found herself sharing thoughts with a young Kithara named Flows Through Dreams. The experience was overwhelming at first. Kim could feel the aliens' thoughts mixing with her own, could sense the ship around them as a living thing rather than a machine. But gradually, she began to understand the power this partnership offered. How do you feel? Asked Rodriguez over. the communication channel. Different, Kim replied, like I can see around corners. The ship feels alive. 11 more ships underwent the same transformation. As each one came online, their captains reported the same strange sensations. Their vessels responded faster, turned more smoothly, seemed to anticipate their needs. But would it be enough? Admiral Zhao watched from the bridge of the Courage as the hegemony fleet began moving toward Earth. The enemy ships were massive, their hulls black as space itself. They moved in perfect formation, like a swarm of mechanical insects. "Signal all ships," she ordered. "Form up on the Terra. We make our stand here." The modified ships took point positions in the formation. Behind them, the remaining human vessels spread out in a defensive line. It looked pitifully small compared to the approaching hegemony fleet. "Admiral," reported Communications Officer Park, "Captain Rodriguez signals ready." Admiral Zhao took a deep breath. "Signal the fleet. All ships. Engage the enemy. Show them what humans do when someone threatens our family." The first shots of the war lit up the darkness between Mars and Jupiter. Humanity had drawn its line in the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. The first exchange of fire was devastating for humanity. Hegemony plasma cannons punched through human shields like paper, vaporizing 3 ships in the opening minutes. Admiral Zhao watched the destroyer Vigilant disappear in a ball of superheated gas and felt her heart sink. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," she ordered. "Don't give them steady targets." But the hegemony ships moved with mechanical precision, their targeting systems tracking human vessels effortlessly. More ships died. The cruiser Wellington exploded in a shower of debris. The patrol ship Morning Star simply vanished under concentrated fire. Then something changed. Commander Sarah Kim of the destroyer Defiance felt the shift first. Through her neural link with the Cathera named Flows Through Dreams, she suddenly perceived the battle differently. The enemy ships were no longer random threats. She could see patterns in their movement, predict where they would fire next. "Target the lead cruiser," she told her weapons officer. "Fire when I say, now!" The Defiance's missiles struck the hegemony ship at the exact moment its shields cycled to recharge. The alien vessel staggered under the impact, its hull cracking open, like an egg. "How did you know?" asked her tactical officer. "I could feel it," Kim replied, not fully understanding herself. "The ship told me when to shoot." Across the battle line, other modified ships began reporting similar experiences. Captain Torres of the frigate Guardian found his vessel dodging enemy fire before the weapons were even fired. Commander Park of the heavy cruiser Determination watched his ship's hull begin repairing itself, even as enemy beams scorched it. But the most dramatic change came aboard the battleship Terra. Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge, his consciousness merged with that of Whispers of Tide herself. The ancient Cathera leader had volunteered for the most dangerous neural link, connecting her centuries of knowledge directly to humanity's most powerful ship. "I can see them," Rodriguez whispered, his voice strange and echoing. "All of them. The whole fleet." Through Whispers of Tide's perception, Rodriguez experienced the battle as the Cathara did. Ships were not separate objects, but part of a larger pattern. The hegemony fleet moved like a living organism, each vessel playing its role in a greater design. And like any organism, it had weak points. "All modified ships, listen carefully," Rodriguez transmitted. "Target coordinates incoming. Fire on my mark." The 12 hybrid ships moved as one, their weapons targeting specific points in the enemy formation. When they fired, the coordinated attack shattered the hegemony's perfect order. Ships collided as their formation collapsed. Others found themselves exposed to concentrated human fire. War Prime Cortex watched from his flagship as his fleet suddenly stumbled. The primitive humans had been easy prey moments before. Now they moved with an intelligence that seemed impossible. "Analysis," he demanded from his tactical computer. The human ships display behavior consistent with biological intelligence enhancement, the machine reported. Probability assessment. The contamination has spread to human vessels. Cortex felt something he had not experienced in decades. Uncertainty. The hegemony had spent centuries perfecting the art of mechanical warfare. Their ships were faster, stronger, more accurate than any biological opponent. But now they faced something new, ships that learned and adapted in real time. "Deploy the planet killers," Cortex ordered. 3 massive ships detached from the hegemony fleet. Each one was the size of a small moon, bristling with weapons designed to crack planetary crusts. They began moving slowly toward Earth itself. "Admiral," reported Communications Officer Park, "long-range sensors detect 3 supermassive contacts heading for Earth. Estimated time to bombardment range, 4 hours. Admiral Zhao felt ice in her veins. Those ships could destroy Earth's major cities from orbit. Even if the defense fleet won this battle, those weapons could end human civilization. "All ships, new priority targets," she ordered. "We have to stop those planet killers." But the hegemony fleet moved to block them. The remaining enemy ships formed a protective screen around the massive weapons platforms. Getting through would mean fighting through 200 heavily armed vessels. It was Captain Rodriguez who saw the solution. "Admiral, I have an idea," he transmitted. "But it's going to require trust." "What kind of trust?" "We need to let the Cathara take direct control of our ships. Not just link with our crews, but actually pilot our vessels. Their biological systems can interface with our technology in ways we haven't tried yet." Admiral Zhao hesitated. Giving aliens control of human warships went against every military protocol. But as she watched the planet killers moving toward Earth, she realized they were beyond normal protocol. "Do it!" she ordered. The transformation was immediate and terrifying. Across the fleet, human ships began moving in ways that seemed to defy physics. The destroyer Defiance twisted through space like a living fish, dodging enemy fire while returning attacks from impossible angles. The cruiser Determination sprouted organic growths along its hull that hardened into natural armor. Most dramatic of all, the battleship Terra began to change. Its hull flowed like liquid, reshaping itself for better efficiency. Weapon ports opened in new locations. Engine exhausts merged and separated like breathing organs. "Rodriguez, what's your status?" Admiral Zhao called. "We're different," came the reply. Rodriguez's voice carried harmonics now, as if multiple people were speaking at once. "The ship is alive, Admiral. Truly alive, and it's angry." The Terra launched itself at the hegemony lines like an arrow of living metal. Enemy ships fired everything they had at it, but the biological armor absorbed damage and redistributed it harmlessly. When the Terra fired back, its weapons seemed to know exactly where to hit. Behind the Terra, the other modified ships followed in a formation that looked more like a school of fish than a military squadron. They moved through the enemy fleet, striking and withdrawing, always in motion, never presenting steady targets. The hegemony ships designed for mechanical precision could not adapt fast enough to counter the organic tactics. Ship after ship fell to the hybrid vessel's attacks, but War Prime Cortex had one more weapon. "Activate the neural disruptor," he ordered. A pulse of energy spread from the hegemony flagship, designed to scramble biological nervous systems. It was meant to kill the Cathara crew members and break the neural links that gave human ships their advantage. Instead, something unexpected happened. The human-Cathara partnerships did not break. They deepened. Aboard the destroyer Defiance, Commander. Kim felt flows through Dream's consciousness merging completely with her own. Where before they had been 2 minds working together, now they were something new. Something that was both human and Cathara, but also more than either. "I can see everything," Kim whispered. And she could. The entire battle spread out before her like a 3-dimensional map. She could predict enemy movements minutes in advance, could feel the stress patterns in enemy hulls, could sense which ships were about to fail. Similar transformations occurred across the hybrid fleet. The crews became something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. And their ships responded in kind. The Terra, now more organism than machine, struck the first planet killer like a spear of living light. Its weapons, enhanced by Cathara, biotechnology, punched through armor that should have been impenetrable. The massive ship staggered, then began breaking apart as its own weapons systems overloaded. The second planet killer fell to a coordinated attack by 6 hybrid ships moving in perfect harmony. The third tried to retreat but found itself surrounded by vessels that seemed to read its thoughts. War Prime Cortex watched his superweapons die and felt something he had not experienced in centuries of conquest. Fear. Retreat, he ordered. All ships retreat to minimum safe distance. But as the hegemony fleet tried to withdraw, they found their path blocked. The hybrid ships had spread out around them like a net. They were no longer facing a primitive defense force. They were trapped by predators that had evolved beyond their understanding. "This is Captain Rodriguez to the hegemony fleet," came the transmission. The voice that spoke was still recognizably human, but it carried depths of knowledge that seemed ancient. "You came here to destroy innocent people. You failed. Now you have a choice. Leave this system and never return, or we will show you what happens when humanity decides to stop playing defense." Cortex studied the tactical display. His fleet was trapped, his planet killers destroyed, his perfect formation shattered. The humans had somehow bonded with the contaminated Cathara and become something the hegemony's databases had no reference for. "You have won this engagement," Cortex transmitted. "But the hegemony is vast. We will return with greater force." "Maybe," Rodriguez replied. "But you won't find the same Earth waiting for you. We've learned what we can become when we work together. Next time, we'll be ready." The hegemony fleet limped away, leaving behind debris and destroyed ships. The humans had won their first battle against a superior enemy, but as the modified ships returned to Luna Station, their crews wondered what they had become. The neural links with the Cathara had changed them in ways they did not yet understand. The war for Earth's future was just beginning. 6 months after the first battle, War Prime Cortex returned to Earth's solar system with the largest fleet in hegemony history. 3,000 ships darkened the space around Jupiter, each one bristling with weapons designed to end worlds. But Earth was no longer the same planet they had left behind. Captain Rodriguez, now permanently linked with Whispers of Tide, stood on the bridge of the Terra. The ship had continued evolving, its hull now a flowing mixture of human metal and Cathara living tissue. When he spoke, his voice carried the wisdom of both species. "They brought everything," observed Commander Kim from the Defiance. Her own transformation had progressed even further. She could pilot her ship through thought alone, and her vessel responded like an extension of her body. "Good," Rodriguez replied. "Let's show them what they're really fighting." The human Cathara fleet had grown as well, 50 ships now carried. The hybrid technology, their crews bonded permanently with Cathara partners. More importantly, these ships had been busy during the 6 months of peace. They had not been idle. Dr. Sarah Chen watched from the observation deck of Luna Station as the combined fleet moved to meet the hegemony force. Behind her, Whispers of Tide's daughter, Ripples on Water, worked at a control station that looked more grown than built. "Is it ready?" Sarah asked. "The gift is ready," Ripples on Water replied, "though I fear what we have created may change more than just this battle." Sarah nodded. The human Cathara scientists had spent months working on their secret project. Now it was time to test it. The two fleets met in the space between Mars and Jupiter. This time, the hegemony did not waste time with demands or threats. They opened, fire immediately, pouring enough energy into space to melt a moon. But the hybrid ships were no longer where the enemy expected them to be. Commander Torres of the Guardian had learned to think in 4 dimensions. His ship flickered in and out of normal space, using biological quantum drives that the Cathara had perfected over millennia. To the hegemony targeting computers, he simply disappeared and reappeared at random intervals. Across the battlefield, other hybrid ships employed tactics that defied conventional physics. They moved through space like living things, growing new armor when damaged, adapting their weapons to counter enemy defenses, learning from every exchange of fire. But War Prime Cortex had learned as well. His ships now carried biological weapons, designed to poison the living components of human vessels. When they fired, clouds of toxic spores spread through space, seeking to corrupt the hybrid technology. "Counter-bioweapons," reported Commander Park from the Determination. "They're trying to poison our living systems." "Then let's give them something to really worry about," Rodriguez replied. He activated the secret project. From hidden positions throughout the solar system, clouds of microscopic organisms began spreading toward the hegemony fleet. They looked like space dust to enemy sensors, harmless and unimportant, but each tiny speck was alive, carrying genetic code developed jointly by human and Cathara scientists. The organisms reached the hegemony ships and began to do what life always does. They adapted, evolved, and reproduced. Within minutes, they had infiltrated every enemy vessel through microscopic gaps in hull seams. Once inside, they began broadcasting. Across the hegemony fleet, communication systems that had been locked down for centuries suddenly opened. For the first time in generations, individual crew members could hear voices other than their commanders. "What is happening?" asked a hegemony soldier on a battle cruiser, speaking words he had never been allowed to say before. "We are sharing truth," came the reply, transmitted by the biological organisms now spreading through his ship. "Truth about the war, truth about the genocide, truth about what your leaders have done." The organisms carried data, holographic records of the Cathara genocide, communications intercepts showing hegemony leaders planning the extinction of entire species, evidence of the hundreds of worlds that had been destroyed not for military reasons, but simply because they were different. On ship after ship, hegemony crew members saw the truth for the first time. Many of them belonged to species that had been conquered by the hegemony's core races. They had been forced to fight for their oppressors, told that resistance meant death. Now they learned that cooperation with the hegemony also meant death, just slower and more degrading. Rebellion started on the outermost ships first. Crew members turned on their officers. Enslaved species seized control of their vessels. Ships began breaking formation, some fleeing, others turning their weapons on nearby hegemony vessels. War Prime Cortex watched his perfect fleet dissolving into chaos and felt something he had never experienced before. Despair. "How?" he demanded, from his tactical computer. "Analysis indicates complete infiltration by biological agents," the machine replied. "Recommendation: immediate retreat to minimum safe distance." But it was too late for retreat. The hybrid fleet had surrounded the hegemony ships like antibodies attacking an infection. More importantly, the rebellion was spreading faster than anyone had expected. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the former hegemony ship Retribution," came a transmission from one of the rebel vessels. "We surrender to the human Kithara alliance and request protection under Earth law." Similar messages flooded the communication channels. Hundreds of ships that had arrived as enemies were now seeking sanctuary. Rodriguez opened a channel to the entire fleet, both human and alien. "This is Captain Rodriguez of the Terra," he announced. "To all vessels seeking protection, you are welcome. To all ships still loyal to the hegemony, you have one chance to leave this system peacefully. Choose now." War Prime Cortex found himself commanding less than half his original fleet. The rest had either fled or joined the rebellion. His perfect military machine had been destroyed not by superior weapons, but by simple truth. "You have contaminated our crews," he accused Rodriguez. "We've freed them," Rodriguez replied. "That's what truth does. It sets people free." The hegemony will not forget this defeat. We will return. Maybe. But when you do, you'll find something waiting for you that your databases can't calculate. You'll find hope. And hope is contagious. The remaining hegemony ships retreated, leaving behind nearly 2,000 vessels now flying under Earth flags. The rebellion had succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. In the months that followed, Earth became something unprecedented in galactic history. It became a refuge for anyone fleeing oppression. Kythera refugees were joined by dozens of other species liberated from hegemony control. Human cities expanded to accommodate new residents who breathed different atmospheres and saw different colors. Dr. Sarah Chen, now Earth's first ambassador for interspecies relations, stood in the new Capitol building on Luna Station. Through the transparent walls, she could see construction crews working on the latest addition to the station. Half the workers were human, half were various alien species, all working together on humanity's first truly interstellar city. "It's working," she said to Whispers of Tide, who had become Earth's first alien citizen. "Yes," the elderly Kythera agreed. "But this is only the beginning. The hegemony still controls most of the galaxy. There are thousands of worlds still under their rule." "Then we'll have to do something about that," Sarah replied. Behind them, a group of young people worked at control stations that seemed to grow rather than function. They were the first generation to grow up with hybrid technology. Their minds naturally adapted to the human Kythera neural links. They thought in ways that neither species could achieve alone. One of them looked up from her work. Her name was Alex Kim, daughter of Commander Kim, and she had been linked with a young Kythera named Flows Through Dreams since childhood. When she spoke, it was with the voice of the future. "The new ships are ready," she announced. "Fully integrated. Biotech from the beginning. They're not human ships with alien additions. They're not Kythera vessels with human modifications. They're something completely new." Through the station windows, the first of the new ships could be seen launching from the construction yards. They moved like living creatures, but their purpose was unmistakably human. They carried a message that Earth intended to spread across the galaxy. Nobody gets left behind. Captain Rodriguez, now Admiral Rodriguez, stood beside his old friend Whispers of Tide on the observation deck. His transformation was complete now. He was still recognizably human, but his consciousness carried depths that spoke of centuries of alien wisdom. "Ready for the next phase?" he asked. "We have been ready for 300 years, Whispers of Tide replied. "We just needed someone brave enough to stand with us." "Not just us," Rodriguez corrected. "Look around. We're not alone anymore." He was right. The observation deck held representatives of dozens of species, all of them refugees who had found sanctuary on Earth. They came from across the galaxy, but they shared one thing in common. They believed that the strong should protect the weak, not exploit them. The new fleet departed the next day. 50 ships, each one a perfect fusion of multiple species technology, each crew a mixture of beings who had learned to think as one mind. Their mission was simple: find more refugees, spread the truth, show the galaxy that there was an alternative to the hegemony's rule.